What we're looking at here is not a photograph. It's a painting, an amazing painting of Darlington International Raceway. Okay, so our message today is Darlington and Augusta National. Now, how can we put those two things together? Well, my hope and goal is to get the message of Darlington out once and for all. This track is the ultimate track. It's where there's more history at Darlington than anywhere. It is truly where it all began. And it is safe to say Darlington is the Augusta National of stock car racing. Here's an example. Bobby Allison. Bobby Allison, one of the greats of NASCAR racing. But what do you suppose was his greatest victory at Darlington Raceway? What do you suppose it was? Well, you would have to most certainly go look at the Southern 500s he won. He won four Southern 500s. And he won in four different makes of cars. That was an amazing accomplishment right there. That's not a big deal now. It used to be. But four different cars. So let's look at what Bobby did and see if we can figure out what his greatest victory at Darlington was. He won in 1971 in a Hallman Moody Ford, beautiful red and gold car, number 12, and came back the very next year. And by the way, different teams, not just different cars in his Southern 500 victories, different teams. Because here's an example. He came back next year, 1972. He was driving a Junior Johnson Monte Carlo, Chevrolet Monte Carlo. He's with another team. This has the same beautiful paint scheme, red, gold, number 12, sponsored by Coca-Cola. And he won the Southern 500. And that was a very exciting race. He ran down David Pearson with 4 laps to go. Extremely exciting race. And many things happened in that race. One thing, the medical community was curious about drivers during races and how their heart rate would vary and their breathing rate would vary. So they had heart monitors on some of the drivers. David Pearson was wearing a heart monitor. And here's what they recorded. Earlier in the race, David was nearly in a very bad accident, very close. His heart rate went up, shot up when this happened. Then, as we just told you, at the end of the race, 4 laps to go, Bobby Allison passed David Pearson for the lead and won the race. But when Bobby Allison passed David Pearson, his heart rate was higher, shot up higher than it did when he was nearly in that bad accident. How about that? So, and that week, the week of the 72 Southern 500, was very special. Marty Robbins came to town, the great Marty Robbins, Hall of Fame member, entertainer, songwriter, producer, had that fantastic hit called El Paso. Marty Robbins wasn't in town to be a celebrity guest. He wasn't in town to say, "Gentlemen, start your engines," or to be a grand marshal, any of that. Marty Robbins was in Darlington to drive in the Southern 500. He was a real stock car driver. He drove around the country and now is occasionally driving at places like Darlington. So he was at Darlington, and I was privileged to meet Marty Robbins that week. And the first thing he showed me, he opened his shirt. He had a scar down his chest, and he told me about it. He'd had open heart surgery that year, really serious stuff. But on this day, he was very excited. He said the doctors had given him clearance to drive in the Southern 500. And he did, boy, did he. He made it through the grueling race. It was a hot day, and he finished ninth, and was awarded Rookie of the Race. That was his first Southern 500. So that was 1972. The next victory for Bobby Allison was 1975. He did the impossible. The impossible. He won the Southern 500 in an American Motors Matador. A Matador. You don't race Matadors. But he did. And he won the Southern 500, and not only that. Earlier that year at Darlington, he won the spring race also in the Matador. So another victory for Bobby and another racing team, but it didn't stop there. In 1983, he won the Southern 500 for a fourth time, this time driving a Buick, and this time with another team. So, which would you say was his greatest victory? Actually, none of those. None. Well, that's hard to believe. Well, let's go back. Let's go back to 1964. In 1964, it was time for the spring race at Darlington. And that year there had been a lot of talk about this hot driver out in Hueytown, Alabama, this young fellow named Bobby Allison. He was getting a lot of attention. And by the time race weekend rolled around in Darlington for the spring race, Ray Fox had heard a lot about it. He decided he was going to let Bobby drive one of his Ray Fox Dodges. Wow, that's as high as you could go. And back then, if you had any hopes of winning a race, you had to be with one of those teams. You had to be with the top team. It had to be Ray Fox. It had to be Bud Moore, the Wood Brothers, Hallman Moody, Junior Johnson, the Petties, Ray Nichols. It had to be somebody in that category. So here's this young Bobby Allison being offered a ride in a Ray Fox Dodge. And there was a practice session. Bobby took the car out, probably 20, 25 miles. Then he brought it back in. He parked the car. He went over to Ray Fox. He said, "Mr. Fox, I cannot thank you enough for this honor. Your giving me this honor is overwhelming. I can't thank you enough." Then he paused. He said, "Mr. Fox, I can't drive this car. I can't do it." He said, "Mr. Fox, I don't have the experience to drive a car with this much power at a track like Darlington." Now that was wisdom. That was wisdom. I can assure you, probably 99 out of 100 young drivers would have jumped at that and worried about the experience later. But Bobby used wisdom. So, you put it all together, and the Southern 500s were great victories, but that day was his greatest victory in a race that he wasn't even in. 1964, it was a race Bobby Allison was supposed to have been in, but did not even drive in. And you can easily say that was his greatest victory at Darlington. You can easily say that was his greatest victory in his whole career. So, just one little example there. We'll have a lot more coming up. Again, the theme is Darlington is truly the Augusta National of stock car racing, and we're going to continue with this.